I'll take a pound of nuts. That's a lot of nuts!
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, pups? How you guys doing? Guys doing all right? Doing good? Happy Monday. Hopefully, everyone had a good day. You know, it's Monday. You're just like, ugh. You know, can the weekend just last forever? For some, I guess they could make it work if you enjoy what you do or something like that. Others, yeah. But we are here. We got things to talk about. It'll be fun. It'll be exciting. Anybody new who hasn't been to the show before, this is the Power Up Podcast. It is a podcast that just talks about pop culture, ranging from anything from like video games, movies, animes, you know, the like. I'd like to get more into like comics, you know, like your graphic novels and maybe even like trading cards or something. Because I know I still try to collect my Dragon Ball Z cards that were part of my high school childhood. But this show talks about all of that, kind of looking at what's happening in that field, what's good, what's bad, possibly what's ugly, or even spiritually intense about everything, with the goal of hopefully just reliving that nostalgic experience and just enjoying what makes them fun, and of course to point out and mock of any infiltration with the woke hive mind, and hopefully, you know, burn those suckers down, burn out those weeds, and just bring it back for the sake of entertainment's sake. You know, if you're new to the show, make sure to like and subscribe, punch that subscribe, turn on notifications by ringing that bell to get notified when I go live. Right now, we're on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Locals. And if you want to check out my other social media that I have, you can always check out the description. Got other ones listed there down below. And then on X, you can always give me a follow and check out the link tree that is in my bio there. But yeah, just appreciate you guys coming around, hanging out, all that fun stuff. But here we are. So kind of the main headline that I'm seeing, Assassin's Creed Shadows. It seems we can never stop talking about it because always something new popping up. Thomas Lockley, as we know, spreading all the false propaganda about Yasuke and all that stuff. Apparently he's lying about collaborating with Ubisoft in any way with Assassin's Creed Shadows. So we'll look into an article talking about that. And then, of course, tying into that, apparently in one of the subreddits, you know, the Reddit weirdos and stuff with their power-hungry, small, limited mind. Apparently, the Assassin's Creed subreddit threatens to ban players for anybody even remotely disputing the origins of Yasuke, going along with the fact that he was a samurai, even though X'd out on many of that. We've got Robert Downey Jr. revealing that he's going to be returning to the MCU as Doctor Doom, which to me kind of made a post about it already, but you have all these rising actors that maybe getting a role like that would make a major boost in their career, but instead you're going back to an already established person within the universe, more specifically an actor who, if anything, is being used just to hopefully bring back a dying franchise, because apparently the money's running low as far as I'm concerned with that as well. More info on the live action Bioshock and some other stuff. I've been wanting to also bring in like some fun stuff into the news article as well. So we have some other ones here talking about like emulation, modding. Maybe we'll do something where like we'll try to look at like video games that may have been like released in the month or so, interesting ones, even maybe down to a day, as well as anime. So that might be some fun stuff to try to incorporate. But without further ado, let's hop in here. Ba-bam. I thought this was funny. Paramount Plus cuts popular SpongeBob meme for UK viewers. Because, we all know how thick-skinned UK viewers are. So some SpongeBob SquarePants fans have noticed that the UK version available on Paramount Plus has cut out a joke that's been turned into a popular meme in recent years. The meme comes from the 2006 season 4. Dang, 2006? It's like when I was in... Wow. So long ago. I keep forgetting that SpongeBob was like around in 1999. It's crazy. So, season 4 episode Dunces and Dragons, wherein SpongeBob and Patrick arrive at a medieval-themed restaurant/performance similar to medieval times. When approaching the actor on guard, SpongeBob and Patrick giddily remind the guard to stay in character. However, the guard, who's fed up with this job, is tempted to stab himself with his spear before deciding he'd do it someday, but not today. So the meme has then been used to joke about overreacting to inconveniences or daily trials. So here's an example right here. But I guess this was too much for the old UK. So the meme was removed because of its seeming levity towards a very serious mental health issue. Look, I'm the kind of guy who laughs at a funeral. Kind of like the song 1 Week. Can't understand what I mean. You soon will. You got to learn to laugh. Got to learn to laugh at the dark stuff. Because when you laugh at the dark stuff, it loses its power in terms of, crippling you or anything like that. This by no means is trying to invoke any idea that if your life sucks, delete yourself sort of thing. I'm tired of the government and the censor and, the ESG and all that stuff, thinking that it is their responsibility to shield people from stuff like this. It's the internet. You can never control it. Now, of course, I say that, but it's Paramount Plus. But in any case, still retarded, gay, and the fact that the spearhead's a little fish is pretty funny too. May also be because the guardsman doesn't have a license for that spear. The hell is that? Is that supposed to say license? Because it's linking it to that one guy who got arrested, I think, for carrying that Legend of Zelda prop, that like Master Sword. Yeah, tiny Master Sword. Oh my gosh, what a bunch of pussies. AI was used to upscale the image. It is otherwise unaltered. Just a note. Just a note. I don't know why that needed to be stated, but apparently so. So I thought that one was a little funny yet pathetic. Like, I'm sure if I watched this, I'd laugh when it would be played out. But the fact that the UK version on Paramount Plus had to cut it. But why just the UK? See, this is how pathetic the UK is. How much you guys suck. Anywho, let's jump on over to the Netflix live adaptation Bioshock film. Apparently, this was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. That first article was from Niche Gamer, by the way, a good place where I like to get my information. I'd recommend people checking it out. This one is now from Bounding into Comics. So apparently the live-action Bioshock film shifts directions following budget cuts. It's going to be a more personal point of view as opposed to grander, more epic projects. Now, obviously, anytime Netflix says they're doing a live adaptation, or I guess I should say a live action, whether that's like an anime or Bioshock here, take it with a grain of salt. Because, we're getting hits and misses from stuff. A lot of people are saying One Piece was a success, which, yeah, very well could have been. But we all know how garbage the live-action Cowboy Bebop was. So, take everything with a grain of salt. In a move that bodes about as well as for the project as a cracked window does for Rapture. Nice. Netflix live-action Bioshock film will apparently now be made on a significantly reduced budget. Well, that already doesn't sound good. So this update, me switch over here real quick. Whoops. This update on the video game adaptation was provided by its producer, Roy Lee, during Collider's Producers on Producers panel at San Diego Comic-Con 2024. Per Deadline, recalling the project's thus far's development history, Lee explained that at the time of the Bioshock screenlighting, Netflix was overseen by the streaming giant's film head, Scott Stubber, and as a result had received a significant production budget. But he left. He exited. Womp womp. In January of this year, and his replacement by the far more budget-conscious Dan Lim, the producer said the film was subsequently subjected to a massive budget cut. The new regime, oh my gosh, why even call it a regime? Has lowered the budgets, Lee detailed. So we're doing a much smaller version. It's going to be a more personal point of view as opposed to a grander, more epic project. Or grander, I guess. Look at me grandier, pronouncing it fancy. Fancy pants. I don't know. Something about this just makes me go, uh-oh, sort of thing. What does it mean, a more personal point of view? Like, whose? What's his name? I forget the guy's name in here. Jack, that's right. Like Jack's point of view? Like that? Like what are we talking about? Or like the producer's point of view? Because if it's the producer's point of view and it doesn't line up with like the video game story and stuff like that, then expect it to fail. That's how it always is. We got to have this inside of it. No ifs, ands, or buts. And it's usually woke shit, and then it usually fails. So to this end, the Lego Movie producer also revealed that the streaming giant would be moving to adapt a more traditional approach to its offering of financial incentives to creators. They're changing it to be a metric similar to box office bonuses, he said. It's a chart. It's this amount of viewers. You get this amount of compensation in terms of increased back end. It motivates the producers to actually do a movie that gets a bigger audience. Well, we'll see about that, because the way we're seeing a bunch of these companies just throwing their money away, regardless if the thing succeeds or fails. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So its adaptation was first announced back in 2022 via a tweet shared by Netflix Geeked Twitter account. There it is. Then in a follow-up tweet, it revealed Netflix, 2K, and Take-Two Interactive are partnering to produce a film adaptation of the renowned video game franchise Bioshock. Wasn't there? I believe there was also recently a supposed Bioshock leak of possibly a new one coming around too. If that be the case, and they don't modernize it for the woke assholes out there, that might be a better thing to look forward to. But who knows? They both could suck. It would later be revealed that the story of Andrew Ryan and his attempt at an underwater objectivist utopia would be helmed by the Hunger Game franchise director Francis Lawrence. And despite the film's various shakeup, Lawrence is still currently set to direct. However, outside of the film's existence and Lawrence's attachment, zero details regarding Bioshock has been released to the public. Yeah, they don't want to like showcase like what they did with Cowboy Bebop and everyone be like, wow, that looks like a bunch of hot garbage. And then, of course, ultimately revealing that it was indeed hot garbage. Like they didn't even have like, you know, the recordings on like the hard drive that they recorded on, you know? It was literal shit that the Cowboy Bebop Netflix series was produced upon. Weird. Technology is getting more and more advanced by the day. As such, it's unknown whether the film, given that its announcement tweet suggests it will be adapting the entire franchise rather than just the first game, will still focus on the tale of Bioshock protagonist Jack, Bioshock 2's Subject Delta, and Bioshock's Infinite Booker DeWitt. Some cobbled together amalgamation of their characters, or someone new altogether. I don't know. I don't know. My red flag went off about this quote right here. So we're doing a much smaller version. It's going to be a more personal point of view as opposed to a grander, more epic project. That just, for me, gives red flags. I don't know about you guys, but I ain't holding my breath. So that was from Bounding into Comics, talking about the Bioshock. I mean, and again, we're seeing like all these video game adaptations just failing. Shouldn't say Bioshock because we don't know, but I mean, I say video games, but like, of course, you got your Marvel shit, you've got your Cowboy Bebop, that's anime, you've got your Halo, there's your video games. Everyone's saying that The Last of Us is like the best one, which me thinks not. I haven't seen it, nor do I plan to see it, but you know, I don't plan on seeing it anytime soon because if they're following what they went with The Last of Us Part 2, it's gonna suck, or it does suck, and people are just retarded. All right, folks. I don't know what's your guys' thoughts about Robert Downey Jr.'s return to the MCU as Doctor Doom. As I stated earlier when I started the stream and I made a post on X, they could have given this to someone else. To me, this just shows a sign of desperation. It shows that it's finally come to the point where Marvel, or it might be behind the scenes, that they're starting to panic that they're losing money and all of this stuff that they're doing and everyone just hates it. And so it's like, well, we got to get it. We got to bring back the people that made us money, i.e. Robert Downey Jr. And I said it before. One, there could have probably been someone else you could have picked. And I look at it more from an acting standpoint of so many actors trying to get in. And their agent could have sent them this and been like, hey, here's your chance. It might give a huge boost to your career. You know, you're trying to get out there, trying to start up. This could be a huge boost. And, oh, womp womp. Robert Downey Jr. just gets the part. I'm curious to know if there was even an audition. Or if it was just, hey, you want to do this? We know you retired from Tony Stark. You wanna do someone else? Again, it's one of those things. I look at it because it does happen. It's the same thing as in the voice acting community. The directors are... Some directors circle jerk each other to where, hey, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours and I'll put you in my show. Or like, if your group of people that you like, you know, if you help me out, I'll help you out. And it's the high school clique just getting all the favors. This is kind of giving me that. Now, I'm not shitting on Robert Downey Jr. as an actor. It's just other people would have been given the shot. But again, you know, that's the business, as they would say. But me thinks that the casting couch and the circles already established and just keeping themselves in power, that's the problem. But I'm not saying that this is the case, but ultimately... And someone else I felt should have been given the opportunity to be Dr. Doom. So a rumor, I guess I should read what exactly this. So apparently the rumor is he's for sure returning, and his Dr. Doom is a diversion for a big twist. What does that mean? Well, let's find out from that Park Place. A rumor claims that Marvel Studios' announcement that Robert Downey Jr. will return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Dr. Doom is a diversion for another big twist or reveal involving the actor. So Marvel Studios and directors Joe and Anthony Russo announced they were helming the next two Avengers films titled Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. So you have Cold War, now you have Secret Wars, and can they like think of like any other name to give it besides just picking a word and then slapping wars at the end? At the company's Hall H presentation at San Diego Comic-Con, during their Avengers Doomsday announcement, it was revealed that Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the role of Doctor Doom. I forget who pointed it out, but isn't Doctor Doom supposed to be like kind of menacing? So you would want like a character who's like tall and towering. Someone was pointing out that Robert Downey Jr. is like what, 5'7" or something. Not exactly the most intimidating fella out there. So Joe Russo announced Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, saying, "We give you the one person who can play Victor Von Doom." Robert Downey Jr. then walks forward and tears off his Dr. Doom mask. Yeah, and they were like, yeah, look at this. Whoops, I didn't mean to skip it. But that statement, actually, the one person who could play Dr. Doom, bullshit. There's plenty of people who could have played him. Possibly even better. I don't know about you, but that didn't really sound like a very, like, full room thing screaming, you know? But just look at, like, all the other people kind of in a Doctor Doom type setup, just towering over him. But anyway, so following this announcement, Scooper WDW Pro shared that this announcement is a diversion. He said, "I don't like to spoil films, and to tell you exactly what I have heard is happening here would spoil 2 films at least. So here's what I will say. If you wanted to have Robert Downey Jr. come back for the Avengers, and if you wanted what he's really going to do to be a surprise, then you would need a diversion. You would need a misdirection, something like having him come out as Doctor Doom and announcing that he's playing Doctor Doom, San Diego Comic-Con. You might then be able to have him film, and I'm sure he will play Doctor Doom. I'm just saying to all of you out there, without getting into the specificities, because again, I do not want to ruin a movie for anyone, and that goes for the ethos of this channel. I'm just recommending to you that there is more to this than meets the eye. And they are trying to save a huge applause for when you go into that cinema, when you go in and you see those movies." Well, I don't know this person. All I can say is, who's going to go see this at the cinema? I know some people went to the Deadpool and Wolverine. I can't tell you the last movie. I think the last movie I actually went to go see in cinema was Dragon Ball Superhero. Superhero. So if you need to have RDJ do something fantastic, you need cover because cannot wait. So if you needed to have Robert Downey Jr. do something fantastic, you need cover because cannot film the movie with him without people knowing about it. Please tell me he didn't actually verbatim say that, because that made no sense grammatically. He explained. I think this was just a typo. He can't just be a cameo. That's not going to work. And if he's more than a cameo, everyone's going to know. And he needs to be on the red carpet, so you need a cover. This is all I'm going to say without going into any specifics of what's actually going to happen. So you have this theory that he's not Doctor Doom. There's been numerous rumors that Downey Jr. would return as Tony Stark dating back from 2023. Variety's Tatiana Siegel reported that her sources within Marvel Studios informed her there have been talks to bring back the original gang for an Avengers movie. This would include reviving Junior's Iron Man, Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, both of them who were killed off in the Endgame. If you need to bring back the original gang, that means that the shit you're making now is shit. And you're failing. So you have to bring back what made Marvel hot. However, she added, but the studio hasn't yet confirmed the idea. If it were able to bring those actors back, it wouldn't come cheap. Again, we've seen them throw their money around on these terrible series. I don't think money's an issue. So shortly after that report, My Time to Shine hero claimed that Junior had already agreed to return as Iron Man at the beginning of the month. The user simply shared to X, he's already agreed to come back. Okay. Does he say anything else? Pro also noted, according to my sources, this is true. Junior has indeed signed on to Marvel. He later added, we think this is an intent to, is because we don't think he's necessarily been given a script, although a pitch has probably been made to him. We believe that to be absolutely true. The idea at the time was that Junior would return for 3 movies. Interestingly, Marvel Studio boss Kevin Feige informed Variety Fair in December that there were no plans to have him return to the role of Iron Man. And he told the outlet, we are going to keep that moment and not touch that moment again. We all worked very hard for many years to get that, and we would never want to magically undo it in any way. I heard that, I mean, if we're going off the Marvel movies timeline, but they had to twist a lot of stuff to get to where they are. I thought I remember reading a long time ago, like an article talking about like if you really sat down and look at the timelines that the Marvel Studios has created, it's garbage. So another producer, Stephen Brochard, told Gizmodo back in 2023 of February, well, I think one of the meta-narratives of Phase 4 was about new characters. It's about new people stepping into the mantles. If you look at like Casey Lang in Quantumania, getting a suit and Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, new characters being introduced like Jack in Werewolf by Night. After these first 10 years of Marvel storytelling, torches are being passed, like with Junior no longer being on the table and stuff like that. So it was kind of like a new generation stepping to the forefront, which again, has always happened in the comics. Yeah, but the new generation's garbage, and you guys are failing miserably with it. Miserably. As for what this diversion is actually hiding, the most obvious possibility would be Brian Michael Bendis' 2016 story that saw Victor Von Doom become infamous Iron Man following the events of Civil War II. So while he plays Doctor Doom, it's a Doctor Doom that becomes Iron Man. Another possibility of him returning to Iron Man proper, the wake of Avengers Secret Wars, given numerous rumor claims that the film will be a soft reboot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. MCU Earth 616 will no longer exist after Secret Wars, says this person. He elaborated in a video, is this going to reboot the MCU as we know it? Now, the concept is 2015 Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars, is that all of these different Earths were kind of molded together. Yes, Feige is basically taking pieces of stuff that he wants to keep from all this different realities, and he's going to put it together as a new Marvel universe. MCU Earth 616, as we know it, that's going to be gone, he reiterated. Not as far as erasing the history of the stories, but that's not going to be the same Marvel universe by the end of Secret Wars. You know, I'm tired of the whole different universes and stupid shit. I was told that like the whole reason why this happened was just to keep characters that were famous and keeping like bringing in money, just to keep them around, you know. What my boy Joe, he didn't exactly say that, but I believe that's what my friend Joe Ball said when we were talking. But then these people took a different universe and then just, you know, mix it up, twist it up. A lot of them bastardizing a lot of people and then trying to pass it off that their version's the superior one. That's the main thing why I don't like having different universes and time traveling and stuff. Because we're seeing the woke nowadays just using that as an excuse to bastardize any established franchise or character, and then try to say, well, our character is the best one because it rights some grave injustice that we never cared about in the past. But now that we're seeing that this is really popular, we need to fix it. Why? Clout. So later in the video, he added, but with Secret Wars, this is really Feig's chance to, again, wipe the slate clean of stuff you don't really want to do going forward. Then you bring in your mutants, you bring in Fantastic Four, you really do something special for the entire universe. But so 10 years of that hard work all down the drain just so he could start a plate clean. That makes no sense. Unless he's broken away. I don't know how. I'm assuming Feig obviously is part of the whole ideology bullshit hive mind. Unless he's broken free from it and realizes he needs to do a reset because everything's gone to shit. But I don't think that's the case. But that was pretty much the end of this article. What do you guys think of the Doctor Doom announcement? Yeah, I mean, it could be a diversion. If he truly is playing Doctor Doom, I think someone else should have been given a chance to play the role. But if they're trying to bring everybody back, it goes to me, that's a sign of desperation. Because everything else has been failing up until then. Star Wars, Marvel, all that stuff. Everything's failing, and so they need to bring back what made them money. That's what I think. All right, so now we're at the main topic here. Back to Assassin's Creed Shadows, because it just keeps getting better and better. So the Assassin's Creed subreddit threatens to ban players for disputing Ubisoft's original claim that Yasuke is a powerful African samurai of historical legend. Even though Ubisoft themselves stated that, yeah, it's debatable, thus defeating their whole argument and purpose well, you know what I'm trying to say. Trying to say that Ubisoft is very
gay.
Very gay. And
Why
that
do you disappoint me? Second by second, you waste my time.
now Ubisoft has wasted my time for quite a while. But yeah, good old subreddit moderators apparently not happy. Threatened to ban any players who post in the forums disputing developer Ubisoft's original claim that Yasuke is a powerful African samurai of historical legends. Well, he was African. This is true. Yes, I'll even give you that he was a historical figure, because some of his stuff was written down. Powerful samurai of legend? Well, wait, if it's a legend, then some of it's true and some of it's false. If it's a myth, it's like, supposedly just not true at all. Anyway, Ubisoft originally claimed and still does claim that Yasuke. See, now I'm pronouncing it differently. I went to that default of, well, these guys have been propping this guy up like, been putting them on a golden pedestal, so I'm not even going to give him the satisfaction of pronouncing his name right. But I shall fight that instinct. So they're still claiming that in its promotional material for the game. And game director Charles Benoit, lay off some steam, Bennett, has also claimed players will be able to learn about the history of the Sengoku era Japan. If I wanted to learn about the history of the Sengoku era Japan, I don't fucking look to stupid Yasuke here. It's like, you know what? That Yasuke guy, He is the embodiment of the Sengoku era of Japan. No one thinks that. No one thinks that. Oh my gosh. See, this is what I love about Ubisoft. They are so moving the goalposts constantly. Because, oh, you're mad. He's based on a historical figure. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, his history is debatable. Oh, yeah, it's a historical fiction game. Oh, but you can learn about the Sengoku, like, back and forth. Back and forth, back and forth. I said in a past show, like, they don't even have the goalposts planted. They're having, like, two people constantly holding up the goalpost so that they can run to the next, like, distance. Oh, my gosh. So Benoit was asked by Xbox Wire, this is a familiar setting for gamers. How does this game differentiate its take on the setting? You know what I would have asked if I was on Gamebox? Hey, why don't people just go and play Ghost of Tsushima? Tell me why I should play Shadows. But that wasn't the question that was given to him. He responded to the question of what's different about it. And old Benoit says, we're at the end of the Sengoku era and a turning point of Japan history. Assassin's Creed is well known for its depiction of the history and accurate Uh-oh. Benoit, why are you saying it's a historic and accurate recreation of the world? And then Ubisoft is saying, oh, yeah, well, him being a samurai, yeah, that can be historically debated. Uh-oh. Whoops. Didn't I just say? Goalpost constantly being held up. Now we're running back to the historical and accurate distance. So it's well known for, yes, Assassin's Creed. I don't go to like history books or, you know, historians that's been around like 40 plus years studying this stuff. When I want to know about the ending point of Japan history of the Sengoku era, I turn to Assassin's Creed. Why? It's because Assassin's Creed has depicted the history and accurate recreation of the world so well. We're showing real historical figures such as Oda Nobunaga and a lot of events that happened during that time. So has it. I guarantee you there are games out there that have done the same thing. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so you're not only playing in feudal Japan. Get this, guys. You're not only playing in feudal Japan, but you're learning about this fantastic time period. Then you might as well just have made, you know, like what, Mario and Luigi, Travel in Time, you know, that history, that educational game. You might as well just have made an educational game. But get this, we're giving the opportunity to the players to not live just one, but two of the best fantasies of Japan, the samurai and the shinobi. He concluded, yes, the samurai of a historical figure where the word unknown is mostly made up in his recorded background, and the daughter of another famous person, but yet no info. And how convenient. POC, one main character, person of color, other person, that woman power. Who would have thunk? So they've since backtracked on this claim in an official statement. We've read this before. While Yasuke is depicted as a samurai in Shadows, we acknowledge that this is a matter of debate and discussion, which completely destroys your whole game, because literally up here, this guy just said right here, Assassin's Creed, it's known for its depiction of history and accurate recreation of the world. Yeah, it's a matter of debate and discussion. That's why we hired a bunch of woke people to hopefully try to convince you guys that you believe in us. And that Thomas Lockley, like in this other article we have here, He wasn't collaborating with Ubisoft. So anyway, despite Ubisoft backtracking and admitted that Yasuke is a samurai can be disputed, moderators on the subreddit are threatening to ban anyone who disputes the claim that he's a samurai. What a bunch of fags. The moderators posted a thread on July 28th titled, "There is no, quote, debate. Yasuke was a samurai." No, he wasn't. "If you disagree, you can do that elsewhere." Oh my gosh. The thread itself reads, with the reveal of Assassin's Creed Shadow, there has been an influx of certain individuals spilling into various communities online, such as the subreddit, and raising argument about historical accuracy. As we are all exhausted of the tedious discussion that has been endlessly talked to death, you guys have done a very shit job then of convincing me that he was a samurai. Not to mention exacerbated by a recent official statement from Ubisoft. We would like to give a final reminder of those participating in this debate as to what exactly this franchise entails and why there was never any point to this discussion to being with outside a thinly veiling bad faith intent. No, the bad faith intent was because Ubisoft, the studio in Canada that's doing this, hate white people so much that Asian people are white adjacent, and that's why they skipped for joy and busted a nut when they decided to pick Yasuke as the perfect representation of a samurai during the end of the Sengoku era, because there was so little information about him that they could make up whatever they want. And they realized that Thomas Lockley with his bullshit can help him out because he embellished like a 240 some paper of bullshit about Yasuke. And then to top it all off, the woke icing on the cake hired that weirdo Japanese American from San Francisco bitch, who is a Japanese historian who writes books about, I don't know, something between the little boys happening, some disgusting gay shit. Borderline PAF shit to back up all their claims. So they then continued by saying that Assassin's Creed is a historical fiction. This means that while certain locations, events, and figures may be based on reality and can even have a slight focus on accuracy, their depictions are largely exaggerated for the sake of a more enjoyable video game. But no one asked for a black samurai. See, this is the thing. This is the thing these people will not admit. No one was asking for this except them. And when these people, if they would ever take a self-look, a reflection of who they really are and what they're asking, is they're asking that this person needs to be this color and this race because there's not enough diversity, it goes to show that they are indeed the real racist. I've said this before. I'll say it every time. They're the real racists. They're the real bigots. They're the real whatever they project onto other people, because they have either been brainwashed by the woke hive mind or are actually truly evil people who believe that in order to fight racism, you must be a racist. And that when you analyze life through the SJW checkbox of what race is involved, what gender is involved, what sexual orientation is involved, who's being oppressed in there, blah, 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 blah. If you look at life through that lens, you are literally everything that you say that you despise and so much more. Like that pure, raw element. You are that people. But they don't want to admit it because their entire existence would crumble. And they would hate the very thing that they claim they hate. They would hate themselves. Now, I'm for one to where these people's spirits obviously need to be broken. Because I am also a believer that you need to hit an all-time low in order to get out of whatever warped reality you have. It happens to many people. Sometimes it happens to the most extreme. But it needs to happen. Because that's what God does. God allows trials in your life to happen for a reason, so that you can turn to him and go towards him to ask for help. And he'll help you through it. He will. He says he will. Says it in the Lord's Prayer. Give us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Meaning, don't lead us down a path that will 100% allow us to sin. But if there's a pathway that is truly evil for us, deliver it from us. But I also agree that there are just some evil people in the world, and they need to be dealt with swiftly. Hopefully by the Lord. I mean, the Lord ultimately will do it when he comes back in the end, and he will not be happy. The moderators then declared Yasuke, who is a samurai, as confirmed by multiple reputable historians. Thomas Lockley lied, and the other guy was a communist. Amazing, amazing reputable historians around the world, including from Japan, may not have held as large as a role in the real world as he does in Shadows. This is okay. It's a video game. Then don't try to feed me that this is based on history and stuff, and then you're saying, well, there's a little bit of history. Okay, fine. Then admit that he wasn't what you're saying he is. It's a video game. You're not meant to use Assassin's Creed as a source book for actual historical knowledge. Dude, literally that Benoit guy said that that these people pride themselves for Assassin's Creed for being an accurate and historical recreation of the world. Oh my gosh. You know what, random moderator? You're right. Assassin's Creed isn't a source book for the actual historical knowledge. I actually read a tweet from a guy who actually went to the records building in Japan and read all the records recorded of Yasuke, and it's nothing like the game is saying. You're right. You're absolutely right. It is meant to compel you to do your own external research. Oh my god, dude. Beta bitch. It is meant to compel you to do your external research after immersing you in a glimpse of authenticity. He says this as he states that he'll ban anyone who brings up this discussion unless you agree with their ideology. Oh my gosh. For a helpful list on... No, we're skipping this. We are not here in this community to debate on historical records. Dude, this guy's statement is a constant contradiction. Most of us understand as fans that while these games provide us a great look into what historical settings could have felt like and have a fun comparing them to actual record, we do not chase accuracy within the franchise. I primarily play for the other reasons, the moderator continued. So if you are specifically here to leave comments about your displeasure about Yasuke inclusion or various other inaccurate details that have been pointed out on the Ubisoft's depiction of feudal Japan, it is time to understand that this is not the place for this discussion and never will be. Feel free to take your displeasures elsewhere, away from this franchise and its community. So any further comments attempting to dispute Yasuke's societal status, disparages his inclusion in the game, or containing statements bordering on concern trolling for historical accuracy will be swiftly removed and met with a ban. Let's see. This... I wanted to see who the name of this guy, of the moderator. Whoever you are as a moderator, get bent, dude. So Grumps pointed this out. Grumps says, no matter what Ubisoft says, Yasuke as samurai is a fact. Anyone saying otherwise would be banned. By this logic, Ubi itself would be banned for posting their apology there, as they themselves admit the matter is under debate. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're at the end of the article. Yeah. And then, we've got, as noted by Japanese YouTuber Shohei Kondo, historian Yuichi Goza, a faculty member of the International Research Center of Japan's studies focusing on Japanese medieval history, concluded that theory that Yasuke becomes a samurai is based solely on just one variation of the Shinocho Koki manuscript. Therefore, we should be cautious about concluding he was a samurai. Thank you. There's another one. There's another one for the books, folks. And then Kondo then notes that there are 60 variations of Shinochi Koki, and the one is saying that Yasuke got some sort of short sword or house, or just one of them. Just one of variation of 60. See, I didn't know that. That is insane, and this is the bullshit that they don't want to tell you. There you go. Yeah, get bent subreddit. But then again, I only use Reddit like if I want a quick answer about, like, I don't know, emulation or something like that. So the African Samurai author, Thomas Lockley, who has been discredited, lies about collaborating with Ubisoft on Assassin's Creed Shadows amid Yasuke controversy. So he's the one that pushed all of this nonsense about this is the true story of Yasuke, a legendary black warrior in feudal Japan. Apparently, he's lied about collaborating with Ubisoft on Assassin's Creed Shadows amid the ongoing controversy surrounding the character of Yasuke. In an interview of the Lance E. Lee podcast from Tokyo on YouTube, Lockley stated, "I don't know whether the game Assassin's Creed should have him as the main character or should have somebody else as the main character. Quite frankly, I don't care." Oh, you definitely care, man. Because they're using all of what you lied about. Lee then asked him, "But have you nothing to do with it anyway?" Lockley replied, "It's nothing to do with it." Bam! X'd it out. Actually, technically, you inadvertently did have something to do with it because they're basing everything that they got off of Yasuke, about Yasuke, from you. So in a way, yes, you did have something to do with it. Not directly, but your source material has. So Lee then asks, "You see no royalties or anything?" Lockley responded, No, it was nothing to do, though my book is starting to sell well again, which is nice. That's nice. Oh, you literally, okay. Huh. You know, since this whole thing started happening, apparently my book is selling again. Oh, okay. He then ended, "But don't attack Yasuke as a man. Let's remember this man for who he was and the great things he did. Half of the stuff you had made up about him is not true. This is not the first time he's made such a claim." Apparently on his Facebook account, he also wrote, "Thank you for your support over the years. Due to the hate mail connected with Assassin's Creed game, with which I have nothing to do and have no intention of playing, but many people seem to think I am responsible for, I will be freezing this account. I hope not forever, but who knows." However, Lockley did indeed collaborate with Ubisoft for an episode of their Echoes of History podcast titled Yasuke the First African American Samurai. The depiction of the episode states, Yasuke is one of the most captivating and yet mysterious figures within Japanese history. So they go, yeah, so it's just stating all that stuff. Delving into the history behind one of the two main characters in the latest Assassin's Creed games, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Matt Lewis and Thomas Lockley examined the few surviving historical sources to reveal what we know about Yasuke, Japan's first African samurai. The description concludes with making it clear it's produced by Ubisoft. Echoes of History is a Ubisoft product brought to you by History Hit. Nail meat coffin, you lying sacks of human feces. Apparently, Matt introduces the episode saying, in case you haven't had the chance to see it, the world premiere trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows was released, and you can see it takes place in feudal Japan. Goes on to say about other stuff. This is a time famous for samurais and ninjas, an era rich in history, culture, and stories. Today, we're tracing the story of a key figure in the era of upheaval. It's first black, I'm not even going to say samurai, first black person who had stuff written about him, Yasuke. So where did he come from? Blah, 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 blah. What about this? I'm joined by Thomas Lockley, associate professor at the Nihon University in Tokyo and author of Africa Samurai, The True Story of Yasuke. Clearly, Lockley did indeed collaborate with Ubisoft for Assassin's Creed Shadows and had something to do with the game. Not only is Lockley lying about the collaborating with Ubisoft, but this appears to be a pattern of behavior noted by Japanese tutor Noodo, who has done significant research into Lockley's claim regarding Yasuke and how it influenced Shadows. Following an exhaustive breakdown of an interview Lockley gave with the Japan Times regarding Yasuke, Noodo concludes, I used to think he was just a presumptuous, speculative researcher. However, What I understand from his interview in the Japan Times is that he is deliberately lying. He who distorts history for his political beliefs is not qualified to be a historian. I agree. He noted, without his book, the latest Assassin's Creed would have featured a Japanese ninja as the protagonist. Even if Yasuke could act as a mediator between the Jesuits and Nobunaga, that was not a role significant enough to make him the protagonist. At most, he would have been an NPC. Once again, I strongly feel that his, quote, research has changed the content of the game set in Japan and Japanese history. I 100% agree upon that. I think it's 100% true that these people are lying sacks of garbage because they want you to believe in this stuff. He also previously claimed that his book was fact-checked by Sakujini Kirino. However, Kirino noted this was not the case. Regarding Nobunaga and Yasuke by Lockley, published by Oda Publishing in 2017, translator Yoshiko Fuji asked me to read through it and provide my thoughts. I gave a few comments, but it was nothing as grand as a fact check. In fact, Naoto also notes that Lockley's original intention for his book, African Samurai, The True Story of Yasuke, a Legendary Black Warrior in Feudal Japan, was to craft a novel, not an academic or historical document. In an interview with News Digest, Lockley was asked why he was interested in Yasuke. Translated by Naoto, he answered, around 2009, 2010, I accidentally came across a link about Yasuke online. As soon as I clicked it, I was fascinated by the real-life figure. It was so romantic, adventurous, war-filled, passionate, and agonizing that it felt like fiction. Okay. I think you might just be gay, dude. Fine. This time. In 2004, no one cares if you're gay or not. I couldn't forget about him. And about a year later, I started writing... Okay, this is... Oh my gosh. Now, I should write a book about Thomas Lockley's love for Yasuke. Because this is starting to sound like a romantic fiction. I couldn't forget about him. And about a year later, I started writing a novel about Yasuke for my own enjoyment. I paused to prioritize daily life like work and family, but resumed writing in 2015, shifting towards an academic approach to pursue the truth. Oh my gosh. It does not appear that Lockley pursued the truth at all, given the claim that Yasuke was a samurai is heavily disputed. And then Naoto points to Professor Miyoko Oka, the editor of Connecting World History 2, who commented on X, even among Japanese researchers, there are various theories on the definition of samurai, making it difficult to answer. The use of samurai overseas is even more different, since no one before Professor Lockley had shown academic interest in Yasuke. There would be no researchers who have strictly defined samurai in the Sengoku period and then position Yasuke as samurai. Holy crap. And I'm pretty sure this... Naoto guy, I'm pretty sure this is the one guy I read who at least he either translated it or he himself did it to where he went to the historical records of where the information about Yasuke is in Japan and read it. And nothing about a samurai in there. Holy crap. What do you make of Lockley lying about not collaborating with Ubisoft on Assassin's Creed Shadows? Well, of course we know he's lying. I'm more happy that we were able to find more information about this. Thanks to Kirino Sakujin or Naoto. I'm thankful for these guys who literally went to the people and been like, yeah, when he wrote this book, what were your thoughts on, like, what was the fact check? Oh, yeah, lots of vague information. So everyone trying to say that he was a samurai is a fool. But let's not end on a happy note. Let's actually take that back. Let's end on a happy note here. So that's what we have here. We went through all of these. Check this out. Found this pretty interesting. The Verge. The $60 chip fixes a long-standing Super Nintendo flaw. So Nintendo sold over 49 million Super Nintendo consoles. This comes from The Verge, by the way. But not all of them were created equal. A later hardware revision improved the quality of the SNES video output, and over 3 decades later, Juan Mater has come up with a way to bring those improvements to nearly every Super Nintendo ever. I had a Sega growing up. So Zach Henson, a console modder who also goes by the name Voltar, no, from Space Ghost, Voltar, has created a do-it-yourself modification kit for older Super Nintendo consoles called the Edge Enhancer. It's expected to sell around $60. The mod kit upgrades the console's video output, making graphics appear much sharper and colors more saturated. I want to say that, I forget their name. Super Retro Arc? They made component cables that you could use to like pretty much get like a component output. So although Nintendo made many revisions of the hardware during the console's production run, for retro gamers, there are essentially 2 versions of the SNES that matters. The original, which is now referred to as the SHVC, or the 2-chip model, and then an upgraded version known as the 1-chip model, based on how Nintendo labeled its motherboard. The 2-chip featured a video digital to analog converter in its picture processing unit that gamers have since discovered wasn't able to quickly transition between different colors. So this resulted in the video output that tended to look soft or blurred because the graphics appeared to have a halo or shadow. And as we can see here, definitely see that compared to the 1-chip. Definitely prominent. And so for the later 1-chip, the company merged the original 2 video chips and the CPU into a single chip. It was a cost-cutting move to make it cheaper to manufacture the console, but the new component also resulted in video output that was much sharper with noticeably improved colors. So for retro gamers who prefer to play on the original hardware, which I would just say at this point, just emulate it, because one, you can get the OG feel, and emulation's getting to where it's literally a 1-to-1. Hate to say it, and it's cheaper too, so you don't even have to do modding. Still, I still love the modding community and like the ROM hacking community. Yeah, this 1-chip Super Nintendo can cost up to, well, $200, but could be waning thanks to this upgrade that apparently can only be for $60. Voltar's Edge Enhancer modder isn't for beginners. And apparently YouTube's Macho Nacho production recently demonstrated the video. Has to be completely dismantled, but there's quite a bit of soldering required, and you have to remove the original transistors, capacitors, and resistance for the console's motherboard. But, I mean, just look at that. Will you just look at it right there? Look at that, especially around Mario's hand. Woo! So a lot can go wrong, so obviously just be careful. But there you go. $60 chip can fix all that. Very cool. Very cool. And then this one caught my eye. Emulation is better than most modern gaming, and there's nothing we can do about it. Oof. This might be an opinion piece. It comes from XDA developers. Emulating older consoles lets you enjoy classic games at high resolution and fast frame rates on modern hardware. Yes, and then people can mod it, people can hack it. And sometimes the ROM dumps are... I mean, let's face it, the ROM dumps are perfect. Some of the ports that the official companies do, we won't name names, but you can kind of guess who they are. Some reason still can't get their ports to be accurate like it was back in the day. Emulation can do that easily. So despite disappointments, the emulation scene outshines the modern gaming industry, plagued by incomplete titles and bugs. Very true. I just got done playing Beyond Good and Evil HD. Many bugs in there. They didn't fix any of them, I guess, in the 20th anniversary that just came out. The only thing they did was slap a stupid, retarded trigger warning label on it. Foolish. Emulating older consoles is a great way, or you read that. It's not just useful from a video game preservation point of view either. Emulation makes it possible to play to old school games at high resolution and fast frame rates. I do ultimately this is the reason why I like emulation, is the video game preservation. That's why Nintendo were a bunch of fags for taking down Emu Paradise. Because they're not making money off a lot of those games anymore. They're not. And then are they going to release them or re-release them anytime soon on their Game Pass? No. I'll admit there have been plenty of disappointments in the emulation spectrum. This is true. Yeah, with the recent Yuzo Nintendo fiasco, yep. The abandonment of Aether's SX2 being the prime example. But compared to the modern gaming industry that's littered with the corpses of failed AAA titles and incomplete games with more bugs than content, the emulation landscape is going strong, even in 2024. I would tack on the PC landscape as well, because modders and stuff now can fix those as well. So get the game cheap on Steam or GOG, and then just look to see if there's mods. A lot of time there are, and just go that way. You have the OG game. You didn't spend a whole lot of money on it. Literally 1-to-1. Higher. Some people straight up rip all of the OG textures and then re-upload it with HD versions of it. Insane. I saw that. I did that with my Max Payne games. Crazy. What the heck? I hate how MSN does this. They like insert another article inside of an article, and it's ridiculous. I hate it. I just grabbed this because it caught my eye. Emulation bakes for the, okay, you don't need cutting edge. So this may sound rather obvious when you think about it, but since emulators let you run games for any console generations, the library of playable games have become absolutely massive in 2024. Yeah, but not like the PS5 doesn't have any game catalog. All of them are remakes and stuff, and they're bastardizing them. So you just go the emulation route. From the beloved GameCube and SNES to relatively newer PlayStation 3 and Switch, there's a battalion of consoles whose functionalities can be replicated by emulators. Yep. Essentially increasing the number of playable games multifold. Another cool aspect of emulation is that it removes the concept of console exclusives from the picture, because you can run titles that were previously locked behind specific systems on most modern devices. Speaking of systems, unlike modern gaming, which requires a lot of computization prowess to run at playable frame rates, even the most underpowered modern systems can run entire families of consoles. Very true. Like Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Super Famicom, all those stuff, arcades. Well, arcades kind of tricky. I shouldn't say that, but yeah, you can play all those. Lickety split. And you, if there's fan translators, translation teams out there, translation groups, you can find English translations for games. Name a better duel than old school gaming and a small size Raspberry Pi. Yeah, Raspberry Pis. To put that in perspective, the Retro Pi emulator supports over 50 consoles on mere Raspberry Pi SBCs. Even if not every console supported by Retro Pi has a massive library of games, like say SNES, there's still a truckload of amazing games you can play. That's before you include the emulators for the newer consoles that you can run on more powerful systems. Emulations keep fresh and interesting by allowing gamers to experience with fun mods, playable frame rates, and better resolutions. This is true. I mean, that's pretty it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, it involves running games developed by modern games. Plenty of reasons to look into emulators. For instance, relatively newer consoles like the Nintendo Switch can barely run graphically intense titles at 720p 30 frames per second, let alone a high resolution or better frame rates. On top of that, many classics that are arguably better than the majority of trending titles can't even be experienced natively on modern systems due to the compatibility issues caused by outdated drivers. There you go. That's pretty much it right there. Maybe judging modern games too harshly, but I have to admit that there's still a handful of things. Yeah, I mean, you have your Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, Ghost of Tsushima, Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 the charm of the OG Baldur's Gate games weren't there as far as I'm concerned. But it wasn't a bad game. I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, and honestly, they're working on emulate. Yeah, PlayStation 4 emulators are being developed. FP, PS4 apparently already running 2D games. Insane. Yeah. So there you go. That was a fun read. And so this is something I'll try to do something new here, is maybe find a game that was released today or within the month, and maybe like an anime as well. One game that was released today, Echo the Dolphin. I'm on a fandom because I'd be damned to go to Wikipedia and do that. So it's released in 1992. It was released today, though, July 29th. I believe this is for at least the US. I think I have Echo the Dolphin like loose, but I never played it. I've heard Echo the Dolphin is like hit and miss. You'll either like it or you won't like it. But it utilizes, your apparently health and oxygen. Most levels, you have to find and reach an exit. There's obstacles such as barrier glyphs that impede the player's progress. In other cases, the players will have to solve puzzles or fight a boss using your echo sonar, I think. And then apparently you got to fight someone called the Vortex Queen. Did you just look at it? Their arcade style must be cleared in one try with no checkpoints present. Oof. Yeah, I heard it was like ridiculously hard too. You gotta keep in mind your health. Oh my gosh, I said it again. Health and oxygen. You can run out of oxygen automatically, thus killing Echo and forcing the player to restart the level. And then health, obviously, taking damage from enemies and hazards. See. Oxygen is generally depleted the longer Echo stays underwater. Oh, yeah, you have to, like, jump up. I remember that. Echo's oxygen bar runs out. His health bar will begin to deteriorate until he resurfaces for air. Ah, one of those. It's almost like the games that have, like, a shield and then your health. Like, I think of Gungrave. Awesome game, by the way. Where you have your undead shield. And you don't take, obviously, health damage. But once that's depleted, you can actually take damage. Well, that's cool how they have like the controls here. So you got your sonar, the A button, advance that text. You want to know what's interesting? I still have my OG Sega Genesis, and the only reason I have this controller is because I bought them like a good couple years ago. I always remember having the ABC XYZ controller. I forget, the 6-button controller. I always remember that. And we also had an off-branded one. I always was used to playing with that one. So I actually never played with the original ones. I'll tell you what, I beat Lion King using the 6-button controller. And I rented that sucker from the video store. I beat that sucker. That was a hard game. And they purposely made it that way. Dash and charge to attack is your B. C, accelerate swim speed. B and A, charge that sonar, which apparently has to be unlocked first. So technical details. While the Genesis console lacked the means to perform any special effects that could be performed on the competing Super Nintendo, Echo the Dolphin does make use of a lighting system of sorts. When he is above the surface or at a varying depth underwater, the color of his sprite and the overall palette of the level will change slightly to show varying levels of light. At lower levels, the coral reefs in the background will become harder to see. That's cool. Got your levels, got your story. I'm not going to read that just because it'd be, if I ever want to play it, which won't be anytime soon. You've got your development history. Apparently, Ed Anuzayada had difficulty getting Sega to accept his concept of Echo the Dolphin. Apparently, he repeated pitching the idea for over a year to a cold reception. And then he eventually decided to transfer to EA for a better paying job. And then when Sega asked what it would take to keep him at the company, no, they accepted his request for funds and a team to develop an Echo prototype. No, dude, strong-armed him. Nice. The prototype spent 6 weeks in development. Upon seeing the prototype, Sega discreetly approved the game of full production when it appeared out of their product plans. The game spent 10 months in development. Throughout the game's development, Ed repeatedly fought with Sega and won the battle for total creative control. Dude, what a baller. I mean, apparently he had the knowledge and the skill to get what he wanted. Good for him. And look at this. Because of that, the game became a major seller for Sega, selling millions of copies. Echoed the Tides of Time sequel, released for the Sega Genesis 2 years later in 94. Apparently there was a spin-off of Echo Jr. Under the Sega Club in 95. And a sequel, Echo Jr. and the Great Ocean Treasure Hunt, was released in 95 for the Sega Pico. And then Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, was planned for the Sega Genesis in 2000. Oh, no, it wasn't planned. It was released. And then later ported for the PlayStation 2 in 2002. Dang, that's crazy. And then we got some cool trivia here. There's your ports, gallery. Man, I miss the old school days. Apparently, there's a fan-made upgrade to the Windows version called Echo the Dolphin Fixed and Enhanced Edition. You can also go to romhacking.net and see if there's any like ROM hacks there. That's what I always do. See if they've because some fans will fix like the really broken and like something where it's like they should have literally just done this. Fun stuff. Zolt Bulga was 19 years old when he did 95% of the art of Echo 1 and 2. Whoa, 19 years old? Dang, son. The blue ripple effect behind the texture screen was originally a bug. Ooh. The original name for Echo was Delphinius. Clyde G came up with Echo and replaced the H with another C. And that the Western box was designed by Boris Vallejo. Apparently, the Japanese version has numerous difficulty changes, notably in Welcome to the Machine, where there has been checkpoint glyphs added to the level, and the addition of the stomach, a separate level if the player is eaten by the final boss. Oh. And then the CD version has a hidden documentary video. Well, there you go. There's some fun stuff for you. So if you're a fan of Echo the Dolphin, maybe check it out. Honestly, I might have it. No. I might have sold it because I don't think it's on my backlog list. I was going to say I'm probably not going to get there anytime soon. And for anime, Kiki's Delivery Service. 1989 was released on July. Let's see. I thought it was. Could have sworn I found it. Film began production. Was released in Japan. Yeah, July 29th, 1989. Very cool. I've watched Miyazaki films, but for some reason, this one's escaping my mind. I'm positive I watched Kiki's Delivery Service. I want to say Kikyo's from Inuyasha. That's really cool. I'm like racking my brain here. This might be one of the ones where I didn't watch it. But yeah, if you're a Miyazaki person, then yeah, Kiki's Delivery Service was released today, 1989. Dang. Crazy. See if there's any interesting info. Let's see, magic. According to Hayao Miyazaki, my concept of magic in this film departed from the traditional approach to magic stories. I only wanted it to be a limited talent, so at times she won't be able to fly, It would have been pointless to explain, for example, how she couldn't fly because of her fight with a tomboy. I thought that girls watching this would understand the film on its own terms. We sometimes aren't able to draw something that once came so easily. We might even forget how we learned to draw it in the first place. I really don't know how this happens. Then you got Ursula's painting, was originally based on a print from a school for the disabled and was touched by background artist Kazuyo Oga. Miyazaki described its purpose. It doesn't matter what Ursula painting, as long as it's spirited. Given how her painting is thematically related to the film, the actual painting had to be powerful. The paintings convey the life of a secluded female artist more than they do some messages. I was looking forward to drawing them myself once. I was done with the storyboard. Laughs. When I couldn't afford to do so, I recalled the print Ship Flying Over the Rainbow. The print was made by a teacher at a school for the disabled. We obtained permission for the instructor and added a face to the original illustration. Replacing the horse's face with Kiki's would have been inconceivable. Well, there you go. And then you've got initial plans, pre-production. Look at that artwork. They were recruiting. Members of Studio Ghibli were being recruited as senior staff. Character design's position was given to Katsuya Kondo, who was working with Miyazaki on the Totoro film. And then Hiroshi Hono, who would later work on the projects such as Jinro, was hired as art director. Oh, yeah. Definitely going to have a difference between versions. Disney's English dub of Kiki's Delivery Service contains some changes which have been described as pragmatic. The changes were approved by Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli. There are a number of additional additions and embellishment to the film's musical score. Okay, so there's like extra pieces. The depiction of the cat Gigi changed significantly in the Disney version. The Japanese version, Gigi is voiced by Rei Sakuma, while in the English version, it's voiced by comedian Phil Hartman. Oh, in Japanese culture, cats are usually depicted with feminine voices, whereas in America culture, their voices are more gendered specific. A number of Hartman's line exists where Gigi simply says nothing in the original, and Gigi's personality is notably different between the two, showing a more cynical and sarcastic attitude in the Disney version, as opposed to the cautious and conscientious in the original Japanese. In the original, Kiki loses her ability to communicate with Gigi permanently, but the American version adds a line that implies that she is once again able to understand him at the end of the film. Miyazaki said that Gigi is the immature side of Kiki, and this implies that Kiki, by the end of the original Japanese version, has matured beyond talking to her cat. In a reissued version of the 1998 dub, Kiki no longer is able to understand Gigi even after regaining her witch powers. The filmmakers felt that it was better as Gigi no longer speaking to Gigi, or felt that it was better as Gigi no longer speaking to Gigi was the fact that she was growing up. Wait, you mean as Kiki no longer speaking to Gigi was the fact that she was growing up? Might have been a typo in the fandom area. Then, of course, there was a re-release in 2010. Oh, there's a manga? Uses stills. Ah. Apparently there was a musical. And then we've got your receptions. So there you go. We've got, I don't think there was like a video game. I think the only like Miyazaki video game out there is what, the Nino Kunai one. But there you go. There's an anime and a video game information released today. Echo the Dolphin, Kiki's Delivery Service. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm going to try to incorporate more of that stuff because I think it'd be fun to, you know, at least try to counterbalance and counteract like the perceived negative stuff. If there's a day where it just seems all the news are just hilariously like unfortunate, you know, like funny to us because the woke is losing, but also a little sad because it's like, oh, they're ruining all the stuff that we like. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We were on YouTube, Rumble, X, and I think that was, and Locals. So you can check all that out over there. If you want to help beyond just pushing the algorithm, maybe check out membership and subscription tiers. Feel free to follow me on X if you want as well. Any other social media is either on the link tree in my bio on X or in the description on YouTube and Rumble. Tomorrow we'll be hopefully wrapping up Supersonic Warriors 2, Dragon Ball Z. Would not recommend that game. If you're looking to get it, I'm trying to hone in on my collection towards games I really, really like. And the games are okay, but I wouldn't recommend it. But we'll try to finish up that. And then we will continue Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, which is a game I'm really enjoying. I love the Mario and Luigi series. So make sure to turn on notifications to get notified when I go live, because I don't know if YouTube sends out notifications, but Rumble and Locals certainly will if I do a multi-stream there. Right now we're using Rumble Studios again, which I've been talking to support about them and telling them like, hey, all this stuff is like needs to be fixed, you know, sort of thing. And it looks like they're doing it. So that's good. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks again. You guys have a good rest of your night. Take care. God bless. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions of guests you'd like to see on the show. I've been reaching out to people, trying to book more people. Hopefully some will be coming up soon. But yeah, just let me know. You guys have a good rest of your night. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you on the flip side. Peace.